Hi, I'm Jeff Burke of the Broadband Forum, and I'm here with Lincoln Lavoie, who is the technical chair of the Broadband Forum overall. Hi, Lincoln. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you, Jeff?
I'm great. We're here to chat a little bit today about really some feedback that I wanted to provide you with sitting through some of the early morning plenary sessions here at our meeting here in Glasgow, Scotland, in which I actually saw a real acceleration in the amount of output and work going on around the Broadband Forum right now, and in a number of really exciting areas. I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? Is that a function of the industry accelerating? Is it changes we made within the Broadband Forum, or a little of both?
Definitely a little both. What we've really seen is the industry changing. There's always been a recent push towards open source and stuff like that, but we're really starting to see open source working closely with the open standards and actually providing a fast feedback cycle to things like our work and our technical specification of interfaces that then lead to development of like a reference implementation from open source, and then they're feeding changes right back to that. And you're kind of seeing this nice short feedback cycle that allows the work to actually build quickly and stuff like that. And we've actually done and seen that in some of the Broadband Forum's open source projects where they're contributing work right back into our actual own specifications, and then those specifications are going right back into the open source. So that's really a big acceleration piece, I think, that we see in the industry at large now.
Well, I know that Open Broadband initiative itself has actually gone across a number of the different areas here at the Broadband Forum. Maybe we'll talk about a couple of those in particular and some of the things that you're seeing come out of those areas right now, and in particular advancements that might happen in this particular meeting. So let's start with, let's say, cloud and cloud CO. What's going on in that area?
Right. So our cloud CO area and our cloud area is really ramping up their work on the interfaces specification, getting a lot of those nailed down. So you're actually looking at the overall architecture and then the definition of the protocols and the data models and everything that needs to go between the different layers and slices within that model and that architecture. Nailing down those interfaces allows people out in the industry to really actually start building these things. So whether or not you're dealing with a Yang model definition and then using netconf or sconf to actually flow provisioning configuration data or management data down through the layers, or if you're defining an entirely new protocol like USP or something like that, you're actually kind of moving those things through. And then I mentioned the open source of open broadband initiatives. We have the broadband access abstraction project, where you actually have work towards kind of defining what would be a software defined access, where you can actually abstract out your actual specific hardware that might be making up your access network, and presenting kind of a very uniform interface up to something like a network management solution. And then that network management automation is actually driving those configs down over those standard interfaces to actually kind of manage and control all of that access network. And so those things we're really seeing, the clouds project and our SDN NFV work area to really accelerating the work there on cloud.
Really amazing and disruptive stuff. Let's go to the other side of the network and talk about the connected home a bit. I know that there's a lot of activity going on right there down today too.
Sure. So if there's a lot going on in the cloud to actually drive the services into these subscriber residences and such, that the home's got to keep up with that. And so what we're seeing in our home work, first and foremost, there's the definition of the new protocol USP. This is the Universal Services Platform, where you're actually able to drive the control and management aspects into devices that would be inside that home or inside that home network. And so it's very much an evolution of where TR69 created that first ability for an operator to interact with devices in the home. This takes it to the next level. So it's very much oriented towards not just management and operational type things, but also kind of control and real-time aspects. And then that actually makes it possible to really be involved in things like home automation, home security, IoT, and all of those hot topics that you're seeing pop up. And then it's also enabling things like one of our other open broadband projects, where we actually have the MAP project for multi-AP. And so you're seeing, as more devices are in the home's network and consumption's going up, you need more APs to actually provide your coverage in your network. And so once you have those multiple APs, then you need to actually have management and control coordination between those APs. And so the Wi-Fi Alliance has actually created their specifications, and then we have a project with the Open Broadband Map project to actually build an open source implementation of that work, their specifications, and then that is also tying into USP being used to be able to manage that from a remote perspective with an operator. So it's kind of that interrelation of play of pieces and parts and stuff like that all kind of coming together at the right time. And then we're lastly in the connected home also looking towards like Wi-Fi performance testing as well. And so you're actually able to see the operators kind of coming and saying, okay, well, we've got the multiple APs in the home, but we want to make sure we're also getting the performance, kind of that carrier grade network that we're expecting to be able to provide our customers. And so you're actually seeing them kind of work on all of the fronts all at the same time.
It's exciting stuff. I mean, I know that just recently we surpassed the 1 billionth connected home for the most part in the world, right? And all these initiatives are of course, building on that in two ways. One is helping folks, extract more value and a better experience out of the billion that are already installed. And now a lot of these projects are also going to be focused on getting the next 1 billion installed, including things that are going on in the access area. What's going on in our access next work areas?
Right, so you got to get that connection into the home or into the business, and so you've got to have a network. You got to have that access network, and so we've got a lot of work going on in our fiber groups. Obviously, fiber is playing a huge role in bringing that uber high speed bandwidth to people. So we've got work on virtualizing the dynamic bandwidth methodologies that might be used in a fiber network. We have working with the IEEE again on things like data modeling for EPON networks, all based on, again, top of Yang and NetConf really being a driving force on kind of unifying those things together. And then we're also starting to see things like what are we doing for architecture's work to specify that extending that fiber using kind of some of the copper stuff. So the evolution of what originally rolled out as fiber to the distribution point and actually kind of augmenting that, looking at other technologies, other use cases for getting that kind of last small bit of the connection into the residence, via any means necessary, really.
And I know that one of the things that's garnering the most attention in the industry is 5G, and there's no shortage of activity around the broadband forum in that front either, is there?
Certainly no shortage of activity in 5G. So the forum actually just wrapped up a lot of a study phase. There was actually an interim meeting for our folks that are participating in that work area. And they're wrapping up that study and then moving on to the actual normative definition, looking at how slicing impacts not only the wireless aspects of the network, but also the backhaul, the underlay, how basically all of that actually gets built into the network so that you can virtualize, slice up, provide services to the different segments that may be actually leveraging or using that network. And then also that, you're looking at all of the aspects of densification and what's going to happen when we have such a large number of radio nodes out into the network and synchronization issues that might be there. How is the backhaul? And then that actually kind of relates all the way back to our access groups and looking at, again, fiber-fed backhaul and stuff like that, where you'd actually have new technologies that might be being involved in that. So,
as the coach that's kind of overseeing all these different areas, how do you get any sleep? Is it how do you keep up with all this?
Keeping up's a fun challenge. There's always something to learn. There's always something new going on. You got to kind of keep a pulse on every project that's going on. And you got to try to make sure that basically everyone on your team has the stuff that they need to succeed and stuff. So I spend a lot of my time not trying to be the guy doing the technical work, but trying to make sure a lot of the excellent players that are here are actually able and have everything that they need resource-wise, and that there's no major roadblocks or anything in their way. And so that's kind of the really fun aspect of being in this position in the forum.
One last question. I think you brought up the idea of utilizing the resources that are available, and I know there's been a lot of new tools that you are utilizing that has certainly helped the forum become much more productive. Can you talk for a second about some of those tools?
Sure. So we've rolled out 2 large tools in having a very modern wiki through Confluence and using Jira to do a lot of our project management work. And so the Jira system really allows easy access to things like contributions or providing a bug onto a document or something like that, or submitting feedback. And one of the things that have been really unique about these tools is, the forum's very much a global organization. And so we have people working around the world. And so around the world, world means time zones around the world. And so you immediately run into the impact of it's really hard to get everybody into, an online meeting or a teleconference at the same time without somebody kind of paying the pain point of it's the middle of the night or really early in the morning. And so we've seen with these tools, there's a really easy to do kind of online, offline collaboration where people can easily kind of quickly chat back and forth. There might be a span of a few hours or cycle of a day, but you're able to kind of interact so easily that you're still able to progress the work really well. And so that's kind of been a really big impactor, I think, as well, in terms of just bringing in and capturing participation from not only the folks that are coming here to face-to-face meetings, but also people back in the lab, people back in your own organization, maybe people that are working in a different side of somebody's organization. So then you're not sitting next to day in, day out, but they're also providing comment and feedback on the work and really kind of being part of the process, which is really powerful, I think, in those tools.
Well, it sounds like great tools. I know that we've seen a lot of acceleration in the work that we've been doing here at the Broadband Forum, and you've been doing an amazing job, and as I said, in coaching this bunch here through this whole process. So, congratulations to you, and I imagine that you must be really proud of what you've seen. And with 1 billion broadband installations now, it's just one key metric of the progress we've seen in the industry overall.
Yeah, thank you very much, and definitely proud to be part of this organization and seeing the changes that we're bringing to the world.
Well, thanks for your hard work, Jeff. Signing off from Glasgow.